We're talking about crimes. I love it.
Crimes.
Real crimes.
Real drama. This week
True
on
crime.
Castle.
True crime. We're doing true crime. We're doing true crime this week now. That's it. I've decided.
So who
Trevor,
killed
tell me about the
John
Starbucks.
Ramsey?
Tell me about the Starbucks true crime.
The Starbucks true crime?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Trevor,
Starbucks. You know what? It could be defined as true crime. It's okay. So my girlfriend is a shift lead at Starbucks. She makes more money than I could ever imagine doing it. But they have like dumpsters outside the store, and they're supposed to be closed so people don't use them or sleep in them because it's not in the best neighborhood of Abilene. So someone was throwing trash in there, and then someone was like, I think she went out there and was like, "Sir, you can't use our trash cans, whatever." So he's like, "Okay, I didn't know." And then she goes back to the store and sees on the security camera that he threw something and then quickly sped off. He left a dead boar that he just so happened to have in his truck.
What?
So my girlfriend's Starbucks went a little viral around Abilene, and I took a picture of the dead boar in front of the dumpsters.
Can I ask a question? Or I have a couple questions.
Yes.
One, going viral in Abilene, does that mean like all of 100 people saw it?
Hey, there's 108,000 people that live here. Okay. So yeah, probably about 15 people saw it.
That's
like the Facebook pages were dinging. Okay.
I mean, hey, that's still more views than we're getting right now. But two.
Yeah.
So we're not viral in Abilene then.
No,
we just need a dead boar. We just need a dead boar.
Okay.
Two. Yeah, he just had that. That's just something he just had.
If that is the most Texas thing ever, he just happened to have a dead boar in his truck.
Are there even boars are in the area, or did he have to go far?
No. You'll be driving down the road, and they're roadkill. They're like 400 or 500 pounds. And like some people, like if they go on a walk, they'll carry a gun just in case because they're super aggressive.
Well, yeah, no.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Texas.
That I knew. You don't want to get caught in the wild with a boar being like.
No, they'll kill you, man.
They will.
They are. They are massive. They're massive and they're fast. And so it is perfectly legal. Like my girlfriend stepped out, was like driving down the road. He saw some people walking in the field with guns, and they're like, "Hey, is everything okay?" No, we're just looking for boars. Just on the side of the road,
hunting for them. No, but
it's perfectly legal.
It's perfectly legal to gather up a posse in town.
Of the wild boars that are invading Minnesota from Canada. Which is a real thing, apparently. Someone sent me that and they're like, "Look at this," and I'm like, "There is no way this is real." So yeah, if you look up like wild pig invasion or something,
y'all haven't seen a wild boar, okay?
Yeah.
You haven't had this wild boar. It was a baby, the one that was left at Starbucks, and it was larger than it was like the size of like a Great Dane already. Like these are massive animals with massive tusks. And it is actually encouraged in Texas to go and kill them because there's so many of them. Some people eat them.
Are we talking about feral swine?
I remember when this went viral. It was like 300 feral pigs or whatever it was.
Yeah, so feral swine was explicitly introduced into parts of the United States for the purpose of sport hunting. So that is why they are encouraging us to kill them, because they were brought here so people could kill them, and now it seems that people are not killing enough of them. And so now we have...
I wouldn't want to go near
You wouldn't want to get near one in the first place.
No, I'd rather fight a bear.
Someone caught one that
Zach, you would fight a bear and win.
I mean, look, just because...
We go feral.
It's a tenacity thing. You got to know where to go, and just because I'm willing to get in there and slice up their Achilles tendons like it's caviar.
Caviar on a Dorito.
Zach, could you fight Cocaine Bear?
As individuals, no, but I feel like as a collective podcast, we could take down Cocaine Bear.
Am I allowed to use certain things to my advantage? Because the Cocaine Bear has an advantage because he's on stimulants, I need to know.
What if we also take stimulants?
Yeah, what if am I allowed to take stimulants? Because if I'm allowed to take stimulants and steroids, then maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah, we could do it.
But that's a big commitment and a decision, and I don't know.
Right.
proud to have never really taken steroids for the purpose of bulking up.
So am I.
I need
All
smelling
natural
salts.
baby.
Never.
I need my smelling salts. You
Can
know
we
that.
do smelling
though,
salts
like-
as a bit on the podcast at some point? Can we all just try them? Because I never have.
I've also never done them. So
Zach's a noted user of smelling salts. That's actually how he preps for recordings. Is he just like,
If I prep for
little
recording the
wiggle-
smelling salts, I would be a lot more
We'd be more
welcome,
viral than the
and
pig.
you know, just a lot more in the camera's face and wanting to fight through the monitor.
We'd be like Alex Jones as a hockey podcast. Before it.
I think Alex Jones is doing more than smelling salts before his recordings.
Yeah.
that's
Me and my
true.
buddies got in trouble at our job because we kept doing Alex Jones impressions and doing the most like bonkers conspiracy theories, and the managers started to hear us and they had to tell us you can't do Alex Jones impersonations because some people will find it offensive.
That's fair.
You did the one. You were at a zoo.
Speaking of
You did the big
conspiracy
one.
theories.
Don't lie to me.
The frogs? Yeah, we did the
Yeah.
frogs.
The
Yeah.
conspiracy theory of the NHL is that the Coyotes are a money laundering franchise. I originally thought that the Kraken would be the money laundering franchise, and they also might be, but I think it's the Yotes, personally.
The Yotes
No,
have
the
been a money
Kraken are-
laundering franchise for 15 years.
The Kraken are playing well enough, and it's just weird because they're paying a whole bunch of people like $5 to $6 million, but
Right.
nothing more. Nothing more.
Nothing more.
It's a little
It's
suspicious.
never. No one gets paid as a Kraken.
No one needs to
You
check
get
their
paid, but
bank
not paid.
records.
Well, Matty Beniers is going to have to get paid.
Oh, he's gonna make so much money.
Yeah. They might be able to get away with not paying Shane Wright the way it's shaping up right now, but I'm sure that
Shane
won't
Wright
be
deserves no money.
right now.
He
Shane Wright
deserves
should play on League Min
10
forever.
cents and pocket lint.
He deserves 10 cents pocket lint
A
in a
chewed up
signed
piece
Connor
of
Bedard
gum.
card.
Oh my gosh. Why are we being so mean to Shane Wright? What did
You
Shane
know
Wright
what?
do?
You know, his salary is a C from a Team Canada jersey, but written on it is "This should have gone to Bedard." Like,
Welcome to another episode of Wrinkles in the Crease, where we take a look at the stories in hockey and iron out the details. I am Zachary Morgan. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Natasha and the less than real deal, Trevor Neal. What is going on, guys?
I feel great, but I'm mad that Natasha's making me record at 9:41 in the morning.
Sorry. It's not my fault. I'm educated. Okay.
It's not my, it's
Hey,
not my fault.
hey,
It's not
hey,
my
hey,
fault,
hey.
she says, as she literally set the time for this.
It's, you know what? I am educated. I have 3 semesters of community college under my belt. Okay,
God bless.
in a degree that came from homeschooling for high school.
God bless. Mm.
God bless Trevor.
Although that
Um,
degree, that to be fair, that homeschool degree is probably, it might be hold more value than a Texas high school
Yeah,
degree.
it probably is
Ooh.
more valuable.
Hey, no, Texas high schools take it very seriously if you can throw football.
Why is it they have more security at Texas football games than they do at Texas schools? Anyway,
Hey,
Wow.
that's it.
Anyway,
Or
um,
Walmart
More
as well.
trades happen.
yeah, more trades.
More
More
trades.
trades for sure.
Yeah,
There were
as usual.
because of course there were more trades. All the big targets were moved by the time we recorded last Wednesday, and we sit here Monday morning and tell you that no, there were actually a lot more big names to move. To
Every
start,
trade on Friday pissed me off because I'm like, oh god, I have to remember this and talk about it. But we just recorded.
yeah, and even then, I've only got really like 2 or 3 listed here, so we're gonna wing it from
The trade deadline was more smaller deals.
smaller deals. He says so. Max Domi went from the Chicago Blackhawks to the Dallas Stars in a small deal, according to Trevor.
Yes, very
Um,
small deal.
So
But
the
he's
Dallas
not
Stars.
the biggest piece in that trade. He's not. Zach, we know this. He's not the most important part moved. Dobby got a sock. He's free.
Anton Khudobin was finally freed in Max Domi going to the Dallas Stars. Thank God it was a crime what was happening to Anton Khudobin, who is an NHL goaltender who was buried
Who's
in the
still
AHL.
Still in
For
the AHL.
is he in the AHL for Chicago now? Is that what they're doing? Oh, because Chicago wants Connor Bedard.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
Free Anton
He-
Khudobin.
Yeah.
Free Anton Khudobin. I've got nothing more to say. Max
It was-
Domi, though, adds a considerable amount of firepower to the Dallas Stars. That's a guy you can throw in your top 6, and he will put up a good amount of points. And Trevor, I'm going to let you take over from here.
Yeah,
What did you
so-
say?
I had the pleasure of being at Max Domi's debut. He actually came in and did not have a single practice or morning skate before the game. So that was his first time skating with the team. And I think a lot of eyes were on him his first shift. Unfortunately, his debut lined up with JB Ben's 1,000 game ceremony, so like he wasn't the biggest storyline going into the game. But his first shift, he gets on the ice skates as hard as he can into the corner. It blows Sam Girard the hell up. Gets up, blows someone else up, and then creates a scoring opportunity. He's going to do so well as an All-Star. I hope they're able to re-sign him. I don't know if they're going to have the money to, but he's exactly what they needed. And it just so happened that playing on Mason Marchment's line got Marchment his first goal in 32 games.
Yeah, there were a bunch of scoring droughts broken during that game. I saw.
Joe Pavelski had an 18-game streak that was broken. That was his career long. And then Marchment's 32-game streak. Marchment had not scored since Dallas was in New Jersey on December 14th. So
Nice.
the really good game for the Stars. It was exactly what the doctor ordered for them. They destroyed Colorado. And Max Domi's a Dallas Star. And everyone should be excited. Plus, Ty Domi was there. And Max said we should expect him to be at the American Airlines Center a lot. So
Ty Domi is a noted supporter of Max Domi for some reason.
So is Mark Wahlberg. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg. That one took me by surprise. Noted Boston guy Mark Wahlberg is jumping ship to the Dallas Stars for
hell yeah, yes, we got one.
Natasha, how do you feel about the Bruins taking this massive L and losing Mark Wahlberg's support?
It's going to be the biggest L they take before
Hugest L of all time, honestly.
Like, it's impossible to see how they'll go forward now.
The magnitude of this L is understated.
Wildly understated.
It's a season-defining moment that we stole Mark
literally
Wahlberg.
Franchise demolishing.
But
Mark Wahlberg is Boston as a person, and we took him.
Is that not what's his name? Ben Affleck?
No, Mark Wahlberg's more Boston than Affleck.
No. Actually, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Possibly.
I don't know. All I'm saying is Mark Wahlberg is also the guy who famously walked out during when the Patriots were down 28-3 during the Super Bowl, and then backtracked and blamed his kid for being sick.
Wow.
So that is the quality of fan the Bruins lose.
Send them back.
But where the Bruins lose a celebrity fan, they gain in Tyler Bertuzzi, who is now a Boston Bruin, because that's a thing they can afford.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew that.
Because apparently, guys, the cap doesn't matter. The cap.
God bless. He actually might be hurt, pretty seriously. It seems
is the cap.
So Taylor Hall was placed on long-term
I do
injured
hope he gets
reserve,
better though. He's on my fantasy
and
team.
it does seem to be an issue. He was, the last I saw of it, he was seeking a second opinion, which says to me that first opinion was probably really, really good, and he liked to hear it so much that he wanted to get it confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he wanted a second opinion.
That's what second opinions are for, obviously.
You know what? Actually, yes. I think I'm going to be the doctor that goes, Taylor, I think you're hurt, but when does the playoff start? That's when you're allowed to play again. Whenever game one is, it's amazing. You're going to be perfectly healthy.
Amazing recovery. Just exactly on
doctor. I'm not much of a doctor, but I can clearly see that is a fracture where my ankle is.
Yes.
Are you sure I'll be healthy in time for the playoffs? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes. Just tape it. You'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. How serious? Because I don't know actually what happened to Taylor Hall. What injury?
Me neither. So I don't
know. Not entirely sure. All I know is that he was seeking a second opinion, which to me screams that it's either something. What one doctor told him was probably it's very serious. He doesn't feel like it might be. I don't know. The issue is Taylor Hall isn't a guy that doesn't, Taylor Hall has an injury history. He had a couple knee surgeries in New Jersey. in between those knee surgeries, he had an MVP season, but though that was a big thing for him. So something to keep an eye on. If I'm Boston, I desperately hope that Taylor Hall comes back, because the fact that you have Taylor Hall as your depth forward, so to speak, going in between your bottom.
Yeah, he's a
going
key
in
piece for sure.
Like Taylor Hall makes their middle six scary. And the fact that I'm saying that Taylor Hall is definitively in their middle six is the truth, and it's terrifying.
They also got Garnet Hathaway. I don't want to play against Garnet Hathaway in a 7-game series. He had the guts to spit on Erica Branson once. I don't want to play against that in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that wasn't like a Keandre Miller spitting either. Like he meant
no,
to
that
do
was
that.
no. He went up to Branson and spit in his face.
Like that was the reason why this rule exists is because of that incident.
That specific, yeah. God, the Boston Bruins are scary.
And the Boston Bruins have also put Nick Foligno on injured reserve. For
Nick Foligno's been dealing with injuries for about a year now, though.
Yeah,
or 2 years, because 2 years ago was when he hurt his disc with the Leafs.
Yes,
because after he got traded, it was like 2 games and he got hurt bad.
That was a really good Kyle Dubas move. I'm sure if people love to remember that move by Kyle Dubas.
You know who they could have got instead? Taylor Hall. They decided to go with Nick Foligno instead because the price is a little cheaper.
Good thing we didn't end up there.
You know what? I don't blame them, because when Taylor Hall was traded from the Buffalo Sabres, he had 2 goals. 2.
That is true.
Like that, and that was an $8 million contract. Because Taylor Hall signed a 1-year, $8 million contract with the Buffalo Sabres, because he believed they were in a win now, and management assured them they were win now.
Yeah, is it the most Leafs story ever that at a deadline they were choosing between 2 different players and both of those players ended up on the Boston Bruins? That's a very Leafs story.
It is,
guys. How is Ryan O'Reilly going to be a Boston Bruin next year?
Very easily, because doesn't his contract expire at the end of this year?
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, so
you're welcome for Tuukka too.
Let's move on. Well, actually, before we do that, just one more trade, because Tyler Bertuzzi now a Bruin, that adds a completely new dimension to the Bruins. They're even more terrifying.
Scary team got scarier.
Scary team got scarier.
Yeah, it's getting real.
Jonathan Quick is now a Vegas Golden Knight after spending about enough time to visit the Tim Hortons in Columbus.
Yeah,
that's about it.
If you're a beloved goalie on the West Coast, be scared, because they will just trade you and not tell you they're trading you. Because apparently Jonathan Quick did not know he was going to be dealt.
More like you're anyone on the West Coast.
The LA Kings pulled a Vegas Golden Knights.
They did.
They just look at this beloved goalie we have. Everyone loves him. He's going to get a statue.
Is Jonathan Quick also represented by Alan Walsh? Please say yes.
I'm not sure if he's a noted Alan Walsh.
No idea.
Oh my god! Because all I want is for Alan Walsh to tweet another picture akin to what he tweeted, the picture he tweeted about Marc-Andre Fleury.
That was funny. Fleury. Oh, just like the coach stabbing him in the back.
Yes. Exactly.
Gosh, Alan Walsh is, but then he deletes the stuff. That's the only thing I don't like about him. Is he says his gutsy. He did it again recently. I forget what he said, but then he'll go and delete it.
He is not an Alan Walsh client.
Damn it! But Jonathan Quick is probably one of the most beloved goaltenders of the last 10 or so years. And he built up the Kings franchise. He carried them to 2 Stanley Cups.
He absolutely carried them to that first one for sure. And
yeah, was the major piece in the second one.
100%.
To trade him on no. Kopitar scored 4 goals in Quick's last game and was upset post game.
Yeah, he was visibly upset. Him and Drew Doughty were extremely upset by the move. And how could they not be?
From a business perspective, trading Jonathan Quick was not a bad idea. They needed to get rid of him.
Right.
Here's the thing: is when your entire leadership core loves this guy, guess what? Your leadership core now hates you.
Yeah, no. At some point,
did wrong by.
At some point, you have to recognize when it's acceptable to trade a guy for the value, or when it's better for the team to just have him ride out the contract.
Because it's his last year, and they didn't even do
Exactly.
anything with the cap space. Like,
True.
he was gonna
Granted,
leave. He was gonna leave, but
granted, he was not having a good season. So
no, he hasn't had a good season in like 4 years.
So
Minimum.
I don't know. It's tough. Obviously you feel for Jonathan Quick, but from a business perspective, you understand why LA, if they're going to move on, Jonathan Quick hasn't exactly proved himself to be a guy that they would want to depend upon in the postseason this year.
It was gonna be
All right.
Copley, I think, right? Is who their
Yeah.
starter is now.
Phoenix Copley.
Because Cal Peterson got buried because he was bad. He was unplayable.
Yes. And now the backup is Hutchinson, right?
Oh God, help them! Like,
Yeah, the backup for the
Jonathan
Kings is
Quick
now
would've been better.
Hutchinson, and Keith Kincaid is the backup in Colorado right now.
yeah, I saw Keith Kincaid play on Saturday. He has bright yellow pads.
Well, because he was on the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, well, and then he was playing for Providence. Actually,
Yes.
he only has one NHL game this year. Going into that,
Well, now he
after
has
one
two,
NHL
and he
game
let
last
in
year.
and he let in a really bad Keith Kincaid goal, like a really bad one that
Saw
made
it.
no sense to me.
The Wyatt
Mhm.
Johnston goal he gave up, where it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, it's in the net now. Okay,
It's funny because I was wondering, like, who's this guy wearing these bright yellow pads for the Colorado Avalanche? Not really looking like he should
the
be in
entire
net.
warm up. I'm like, who the hell is that?
And then
I
I
didn't
saw
know
the
he got
back of the
traded to
jersey.
Colorado. I'm like, plain white help. I'm like, is Colorado playing an e-bug? It's what it looked like.
That's what I thought for a second.
That was so
And
funny.
and like they
that-
weren't really celebrating the goal, so I'm like, did they score on an e-bug? And then I saw him turn around before I could even Google. I'm like,
Kincaid.
oh,
Oh, Keith. Sorry, Keith.
sorry,
I feel
Keith.
bad for him. I don't know how we got to Keith Kincaid, but noted Colorado Avalanche now.
No, I'm not going to comment anymore on Keith.
Avs
He did good
legend.
things at one point, but
Hey, Georgiev got lit up, and he was okay.
Keith Kincaid played acceptably. I will give you that.
That's the motto of his career. Keith Kincaid played acceptably.
No, that's not true. If you've seen Keith Kincaid's Twitter, you know the motto of his career is something with a ton of emojis because that is how he speaks. He speaks a
love
very
that.
distinct dialect of the English language where he
Emoticons.
communicates entirely in emojis. It's great.
I love that.
What we don't love though is Trevor. Well, I don't know actually. Trevor, tell me what's going on in Toronto here because I saw Austin Matthews go down on a slap shot, and it seemed as though the shot hit him right where there's no padding.
Right on the side of the leg. He
Yeah.
missed some time. He came back into the game. For me, that's not an injury that I'm too worried about. His leg's going to be bruised for a little bit. It's fine. That's something that's going to be all cleared up, all good by the time playoffs come. What's worrisome is that Ryan O'Reilly took an Austin Matthews slap shot to the finger and was wearing a brace around it. So we're going to learn something more. Sheldon Keefe said we're going to learn more today about the length and timeline of the injury. I saw some person say that it's likely a broken finger, which is 6 to 8 weeks. If it's a broken finger, Ryan, we're going to tape it together and you're going to keep on playing because we did not trade all those assets for you to break your finger 4 games in. We are not having another Nick Foligno, Ryan. Okay? You're going to... If you need my finger, I'll give it to you, dude. I don't care. But you're suiting up.
Trevor is willing to immigrate to Canada to donate you a finger, Ryan O'Reilly.
I'll give you the whole hand. I don't care. I don't even need yours. Just take it. I just want a round. That's all I want. Just win a damn round. Now, the 6 to 8 week timeline does put it so he could realistically make game 1. And if it's just your finger that's healing, you're playing game 1. But it is the most Leafs thing ever that it was finally like Kyle went out at the deadline and got a playoff team. He made them more playoff ready. And then 3 or 4 games later, someone goes down. Like it's just the most Leafs story ever. Because like if it's worse than the 6 to 8 weeks, just wrap up the season. Fire Kyle, fire Sheldon. Like it's a shame because it was against Vancouver. like our season completely unraveled against Vancouver.
I just love that in the span of less than a week, Trevor goes from this is it. This is
the year we're going to win the cup. To
the
fire
Boston Bruins should be afraid of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and
No,
by one Austin Matthews slap shot, everything is now in complete disarray.
Yes, it is in complete disarray. Burn the CN Tower down. It's over. Move the Leafs. We're packing up and going to Austin, Texas.
It's Thrashers time.
Yes, the Maple Thrashers are what they're going to be called next year.
Thrashers.
And Austin Matthews getting traded to the Kings.
Austin Matthews is going to be a Houston Aaron.
That's why Jonathan Quick got traded, is so they could afford Austin Matthews.
Oh my god.
Guys, the Leafs are over. It's over. The season
It's
next
over.
week.
They're really
when it turns out
kidding.
that it's
Until
only a
next
sprain.
week, when
When we forgot it's only a sprain and he's fine.
oh my god, yeah.
But like,
Help.
and then a lot of people are complaining. Like, a lot of Leafs fans actually say the Leafs got worse after the deadline. Those people are stupid. But did you hear what Rasmus Sandin did his debut as a Capital?
Mm.
He's the
No,
first
what did-
Capitals defenseman ever to have 3 assists in their debut.
Damn.
He's quarterbacking their number 1 power play now.
That is the Dubas effect, Trevor.
He's not the only guy that was traded on the deadline to be quarterbacking the number 1 quarterback on their power play, and they're doing well. Shane Gostisbehere in Carolina last night had 3 power play points leading the first unit.
Really?
He is playing
Damn.
like the Shane Gostisbehere that I remember watching as a rookie in Philadelphia.
I love trades like that where it's like a guy wasn't working out in his team and then gets a new scenery and it's like a light switch.
Yeah.
Like
There have been a lot of really strong JVUs since this trade deadline for players with their
Max
new
Domi,
teams.
Ryan O'Reilly looked great in his first few games of the league.
Timo Meyer
And then he broke his finger.
Timo Meyer on his 3rd shift as a New Jersey Devil scored his first goal as a New Jersey
Oh, he
Devil.
scored?
He did.
It's Timo time,
baby.
baby.
It's Timo time. It's
It's
beautiful,
Timo.
beautiful.
I can't wait for Timo's name to go in the Stanley Cup.
That's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Can they break tradition and not give it to Heischer first and Timo Meyer gets it first?
No, absolutely not. Shut up. Stop this.
Come on, you want to see it a little bit.
No, I don't. If there's going to be if I want to watch anyone hoist the cup, I want to watch Nico Heischer hoist the cup, hand it off to Jesper Bratt, hand it off to Jack Hughes,
To Miles
hand it off.
Wood.
Actually, Miles Wood would probably be pretty high up in that list of succession if we're being honest with each other.
Probably.
He's been there for a very long time. Well, not a very long time, but he's been there for 6-7 years at this point. Him and Damon Severson are probably the longest tenured Devils on the team.
Oh my god. Well, but you mentioned the Carolina game yesterday when Shane Gostisbehere went off. Who was the victim, Zach?
Tampa Bay is getting face washed to the past few games, it seems.
What fan base is panicking more right now, Tampa or Toronto?
Tampa.
Toronto, because you guys are so fickle.
Tampa's
Toronto,
like going AWOL right now.
This is Tampa's longest losing streak in
help.
several years.
This can be Tampa's longest losing streak in 8 years. That's fine. I don't believe Tampa and their fans are capable of panicking as much as the Leafs fans are. The Leafs fans will panic if Mitch Marner trips in a Tim Hortons. Like, Leafs fans just kind of panic. That's their thing.
I don't know. Maybe he did.
You're okay. So if you're a Tampa fan, you're not like super concerned that your number 1 line got benched for the entire duration of a third period.
No,
and they were spawned by not putting up a shot in the first period.
What's happening right now is concerning, but as I'm not a Tampa fan, but if I put myself, the writing's been on the wall for this team. Honestly, since they had to trade Ryan McDonough, that made getting back to wherever they were last year, which was to lose in the Stanley Cup Finals, not even win, that makes it that much harder. Ryan McDonough is a solid defenseman who, quite frankly, probably shouldn't have been traded in the first place.
If you look at their defense score right now, it is not a Stanley Cup. Like, it looks like the shell of a team that was good. Like,
they've lost a lot of pieces over the last few years. The writing has been on the wall for this team.
so you think that like this is it for Tampa?
I think they could still do it, but they needed a wake-up call, and maybe benching the entire top line for a third period, getting shut out by Carolina is kind of the wake-up call they need. This is a team that still, no matter how we slice it, it's going to be Tampa and Toronto in the first round.
Yes.
Like, there's no, like, the Atlantic
that's been written in the wall since, like,
But we
December.
all know that Tampa is a better playoff team.
Yeah, so, again,
shrug.
Yeah.
If you're going to bench them, benching them now is the time to bench them.
Right.
If anything, Tampa, you know what? Okay, this is my wake-up call. Panic will be in a few weeks if they don't actually wake up.
And we've also learned with Tampa is that they have been kicked down so many times during this dynasty, we can call it now, and they just get right back up. Look at the Columbus series created this monster. And when they got swept.
Yeah, this and the Stanley Cup Finals loss to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
This
Well, and
shaped
then
them.
even last year against the Leafs, it was, if you don't remember that series, 5 minutes in, the Leafs took a 5-minute major. They killed the penalty, and then they destroyed Tampa in game 1. It's like 6-0. And then that was the moment. All right, the Leafs finally did it, and then of course Tampa comes crawling back.
Why is everyone so quick? Why are you always so quick to say the Leafs finally did it after game 1, though?
Because I just want them to, Zach.
But don't. But okay, that's all fine and dandy. But like,
curse.
Because the team should have done it after that. That should have been them. Like, for me, the first moment where I truly had that "this is it" moment was the Columbus series when they were down. They needed a win and then a win the next game in the winner take all. And they were down like 3 goals, like 5 minutes to go, and Zach Hyman tied it with like 40 seconds to go. I jumped up. I was like, "This is it. They did it. Like, that's the momentum swing they needed." And then Matthews in overtime. I'm like,
are you
they're gonna
talking during the
cakewalk
bubble, like during the
Yes.
play-in round?
And then they proceeded to go into the winner take all game and just lay a goddamn egg. Like,
so Natasha, remember, not even really the playoffs.
Yeah.
I just wanna
No, we know.
reiterate
we
the
know.
point.
We know, Zach. We know.
Okay.
What
oh,
else?
and then in the Montreal series when Jay it was Jake Muzzin
no,
scored.
I'm not.
don't
No,
even
they
bring up
deserve to
Montreal.
lose that series. They lost to
No.
Montreal.
Let me get my point
Montreal
across.
had a third of the talent that team had. Not even a third.
Leah less than. But when Jake Muzzin, when they were up 3-1 and Jake Muzzin scored to tie it late to take it to overtime, I'm like, that's what they needed. It's over. They're going to score in overtime. And then like Alex Galchenyuk, just like, here's the puck. Go on that fun little 2-on-0.
Alex Galchenyuk.
Alex Galchenyuk cost him that series.
Canadians legend Alex Galchenyuk.
Alex Galchenyuk.
Put some
He's a
Riku
legend.
Peck on
And then
it.
Travis
Yeah.
Dermott going, I'm going to do a spinorama in the defensive zone. And just lose the puck to Kotkaniemi. And he's on a breakaway now. Like,
Kotkaniemi had 5 points in yesterday's game against Tampa, by the way.
He's
1
great.
goal, 4 assists. He's playing the best hockey he's played in his career. Carolina's scary.
We love KK. No, yeah, Carolina. I need to start taking them seriously because
Yeah, 100%. I needed Tampa to do the Devils a favor because the Devils are still 1 point behind Carolina in the standings. But I was also thinking about that, like, I don't know. I'm kind of sadistic. I kind of want to see
like,
Devils
ooh,
Rangers in the first round.
the
I kind of want
Rangers
it.
are going to win the Stanley Cup. Good luck to New York trying to beat Carolina.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying. But we beat Carolina last year with like nobody.
that is true. I do.
If
think
the
that
Penguins
people
were
may have
healthy, you would have lost.
I do. Think
And we
that-
didn't pummel Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, you almost lost to Louis frickin' Domingue.
Fucking Louis Domingue.
I am so sorry, guys. I have to take this call.
But we
It is
got
from
Louis
the Tire
Domingue.
Center. I will be right back.
Pausing.
Chef Domingue.
We will come back.
Boom.
Well.
Boom. Timeout. Zach's got to take a phone call. Oh, I want to know what the phone call was. I was a little curious. This is my breakdown episode. I feel like I'm going to cry.
Don't cry, Trevor.
Oh my god, it'd be such a good clip if I just got so heated about the
Just
Leafs I
like
started crying.
don't even like just like let the tears fall like just on command.
Every year that team gives me one moment where I'm like, that's the moment they needed, and they don't.
No, I felt
they
that way with
never
the
do.
Leafs last playoffs also because
They were
doing
better.
great,
They
and
were-
then they weren't, and I was like, oh, we're back.
Leafs disappointment.
Two straight seasons, Toronto has outscored their opponent in the playoff series.
Mhm.
It's sad because every year it's like, oh, we got a little closer to winning.
Hey,
Just a little
Natasha.
closer.
Yeah.
Do you know if I blow out a team 7-1 in game 1, and then like 6-2 in game 3? You know, if I do that, but then lose each game by 1 goal, like if I lose 4 games by 1 goal,
An
my
L
goal
is an
differential
L,
is
no
still...
matter how you look at it.
No, Trevor.
Oh, you want an L?
Why are you creating so much work for me?
L.
Why are you creating so much work for me? You're not really, but
Please leave that in. Please leave the middle finger.
oh, I'll leave some part of it.
L's
Or
L's.
Oh, we brought up the Rangers. Let's keep talking about the Rangers. Because do you know who hates the Rangers more than Natasha? Zach?
ESPN.
Stephen A. Smith.
Okay, true.
Stephen A. Smith doesn't just hate the Rangers;
He just
hates
hates
all
He
of
doesn't
hockey.
know
hockey.
what the Rangers
Yeah.
are.
So
He doesn't know what
The
he's
con-
talking about.
the context here is last week, the question was posed on First Take: which New York team
will be
is
first
going-
to get a championship?
And the guest, I don't know who it was, forgive me, after thinking about it for a minute, slaps his desk and says Rangers. And then Molly and Stephen A are like, oh, come on, that doesn't count. And it's like, it does.
And then
count.
Molly said,
it-
like, no disrespect to Patrick Kane, but, and I was like,
They don't matter.
that's
They
where
don't-
you lost.
They don't know anything about what
Yeah. And I
They
think
haven't
Stephen A.
tried to know
Smith was
anything-
like, the only thing I know about hockey is Gary Bettman.
puck is
and, like,
black.
something else. Yeah.
The puck is black.
the puck
I'm
is
like,
black.
oh yeah, famously loved person. Gary
This is also
Bettman.
the same. This is also the same guy who, about 10 years ago, when asked about which streak was more impressive, the Miami Heat's win streak or the Chicago Blackhawks point streak, was unaware that the NHL had done away with ties. This was in 2013. This happened. So I
Wow.
gotta. This is par for the course. Like, this is who Stephen A. is. This is who Stephen A. has been. He's not a hockey guy. There is nothing wrong with that in itself. Where it becomes a problem is the constant just putting down hockey and treating it like a second-class sport.
Yeah,
that
and when you
it's
say
really
it
not.
on the platform where they're trying to market hockey, or at least like sort of trying, like not well, mind you, but like they're trying to,
You like
and they
Gary-
have a deal with
Yeah.
the NHL. It's just so dumb and disgraceful,
The
honestly.
people
You like
writing
Gary
your
Bettman,
checks.
That was not a good look. What you said is definitely something that Gary Bettman is not happy to hear, Stephen A. I
No,
promise you that.
exactly.
The people writing Stephen A.'s checks just spent a whole lot of money to put hockey on their channel. And Stephen A. went out and probably said, doesn't matter.
Yes.
It might, as much as ESPN doesn't like hockey, if I'm ESPN, I'm pissed too.
True. ESPN is by far the worst hockey broadcast, but at least they somewhat took it seriously or try to take it seriously. Like, but this just is not a good look for them at all.
No.
And just hockey in general, to be honest. But especially for ESPN.
No, it's awful. Like, people want to know why hockey isn't nearly as popular when hockey probably has the best product of the four, at least in our
right.
opinions.
And the fan
our product
bases
is
are
on par.
really passionate, and we have the marketing material, sort of. It's just really annoying when this happens because you want people to take hockey seriously, and without this, and with this, they just won't. They just
Nope.
won't, and there won't be any crossover from like other sports fans to hockey because of things like this.
Exactly.
No, it's so hard to bring people in when you're the biggest sports channel in the country. How many people tune into Stephen A. Smith? And how many people are going to see the
A
clip
lot.
of them going hockey doesn't matter?
Or the Rangers doesn't matter, which like
See, but the real
Sure.
like
Like-
for this thing is acknowledging that the answer is not the Rangers, it is in fact the New York Giants.
not the New York Jets.
No, God,
Okay.
not the Jets. Natasha, that is a
This is a Yankees moment. Okay.
Oh my god, the Yankees are even more hopeless. The Yankees actually
No.
infuriate me. I am a Yankees fan and they infuriate me.
God,
They're-
Zach, you're a Yankees fan? Screw you.
Oh, how am I not a Yankees fan?
Go Mets,
Wow.
baby. It's all about the Mets.
No.
It's all about the
I-
Mets.
Baby.
No, my grandfather
How
was a
about the
Yankees
Mets?
fan and therefore I am a Yankees fan. That is how that works and that is
You
just
didn't
where
fall
I'm
in
at.
love with Bartolo Colon. You didn't
did,
act
but I
like
fell
him
in-
hitting a home run was the greatest
I
moment.
fell in
history
love
of
with
sports.
Bartolo Colon as a Yankee. Bartolo Colon saved his career in a Yankees uniform. He saved it in pinstripes.
And then he blessed us all as a Met.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go Mets, baby. It's all about
Zach
the Mets.
is just so unbothered.
Yeah.
It's all about the
Yeah,
Mets,
okay.
baby.
Speaking of unbothered,
you're up next.
there is a
That's a good one.
we're having a lovely reunion in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
Brendan Lemieux has joined the Philadelphia Flyers to reunite with his best friend forever, Tony D'Angelo,
Tony D.
I was in
to
Philadelphia.
see if they will
and
ever
I saw
record
Brendan Lemieux and Tony.
Watch Your
okay.
Tone.
I saw
again.
Brendan Lemieux and Tony D'Angelo hanging out and talking about their plans for their podcast. Watch Your Tone.
They're so excited to
Just
finally
kidding.
be able to do that again
Oh yeah.
and deliver the
gonna
content
do
that the
it.
fans want, Natasha.
The content.
The content that the
The
fans,
fans
want.
crave.
The fans just beg them for it. Hands on
I'm
knees.
not gonna lie to you guys. If I was offered a spot on Watch Your Tone and it coincided with a recording of this show, sorry guys. I would
go just to laugh. I would-
Watch
I
Your
would-
Tone recording.
Listen, man.
Just have to
If
crash
someone
Watch Your
offered
Tone
me-
and take it seriously, and then we just bully them at the end.
If someone offered me
Just like-
glass seats to a Philadelphia Flyers game or a guest spot on
Flyers
the
game?
Watch
Why
Your
would you
Tone
take a
podcast,
glass
you
seat
better
to the
believe.
podcast,
You better
man?
believe I'm taking the podcast. There
Podcast
is more
over glass
value.
seats any day, man.
Oh man, the Philadelphia Flyers. I feel bad for them. Like they're
not
just-
trying.
They're not trying. It's just not
That's just a John Tortorella
assets that probably should have been traded at the deadline did not end up getting traded at the deadline.
moment.
JVR had very minimal traction in the market. There was a team out there that was actually had a deal in place to acquire him in the Detroit Red Wings. But in order for that to happen, the Detroit Red Wings had to trade a forward away, and they did not do that. So the deal fell through. So JVR is still a Philadelphia Flyer. And there's just
The Flyers are a joke.
I don't know if it's Ron Hextall that did it, but there just seems to be no real direction with the team.
True.
They don't. They just don't know what they're doing. Aside from losing,
No, it's the thing. Like, okay, if you're running the Flyers, your objective is very simple: is to just build the Flyers. That's all you have to do there. Is just build the Flyers. Surprisingly, Brendan Lemieux makes them more Flyers than what you think. He's a Flyer, man. Like everyone hates Brendan Lemieux. That's what makes
he's
him
a great.
Flyer.
He's a great third, fourth line player, 100%.
Who bites
Because he's
people. Like,
He's a biter.
noted biter.
Put him in a muzzle or something.
You know what? That reaction by Brady Tkachuk was hilarious.
What's
So
one of the
good.
funniest things I've
Warranted.
ever seen.
It was also warranted. There is not a
It's
thing that
funny,
Brady
though.
Tkachuk.
It's If a rabid Brendan Lemieux bit a chunk out of my hand, I would be so.
I would
angry.
also.
I
hold
would
my hand
be
up like,
as
what the
angry
fuck?
as Brady
I would
Kachuk
be
was. I
like,
have to agree with you.
what is going on here? Why is there blood and tooth marks
Hey,
coming out of my
does this
hand?
look like a penalty to you guys? I think this might be a penalty. Can you guys? You're not going to give him a penalty? Do you see this? I didn't do this myself. Like,
And that's why Brady was thrashing around in the penalty box.
He's sitting
This is
like
so
going.
funny.
He's like he just keeps like pointing at his hand.
like in disbelief. Like, look at
You
this
have
clown.
like tooth marks, like with just blood seeping out of them, like a zombie bite. Like it's crazy.
Can someone like do an edit of a Walking Dead episode with like Brady Kachuk in the background just going?
Has someone not done that yet?
There was
I
like
haven't seen it.
I read a wiki. There was like I looked up a WikiHow article of how to treat a human bite, and I was like, I'm gonna send this to Brady Kachuk because he needs some first aid knowledge.
Wait. Can we hit a pause button and ask why Natasha was looking at a WikiHow article of how to heal a human bite?
No, because I didn't.
He was looking out for Brady Kachuk.
I was looking
She
out
was
for Brady
very-
Kachuk.
She was very
To
concerned
help him out.
about
I was worried for
American.
his safety. I didn't want him to get an infection.
Yeah,
or
she wanted to
rabies.
make sure that American
Okay.
icon Brady Kachuk had his hand because he needs to fight for America in the
He needs a
Olympics when
rabies
they
shot.
eventually go in 2026. Brady Kachuk's going to make a great Team USA captain. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're
Oh,
not
true.
talking about how Brady Kachuk is going to be one of the greatest American players ever.
Oh no,
Oh my
he's
God.
like
we are
already getting
not
up there.
ready for like
Oh hell, Brady.
Genuinely,
He's
Brady Kachuk.
guys.
A lot
Brady
of
Kachuk has
people-
already had a better career than Jack Eichel.
A lot of people were
Oh, yeah.
a lot of people were
But
giving the
because he's on the
Senators a
Sens,
lot
nobody
of shit
cares.
for holding on to that pick in 2018 because if you remember, they sent away their first round pick to Colorado for the right to have Matt Duchene on their team for about a year, about one calendar year.
Yeah.
That they held on to their 2018 pick, and people were like, "What are you doing? You'll have a chance at number 1 next year." No, we love
want
Brady Kachuk
Brady Kachuk.
so much, and
What,
it was
what
worth
overall was Brady?
4. Brady
Guys,
Kachuk went
3.
4th overall in 2018.
Who are the 3 ahead of him?
This was the it was Kotkaniemi at 3, Svechnikov at 2, and Rasmus Dahlin at 1.
Guys, 3 teams made a mistake. I'm very high on Brady Kachuk.
I am too. I'm inclined to agree
I
with
love
you to an
Brady.
extent. Rasmus Dahlin, though, is starting to really show up, and he's been doing that since last year.
Brady
so
Kachuk.
Yeah. Like, imagine
Brady-
Tage Thompson playing next to Brady Kachuk.
Oh,
God. Oh my
that
god.
would be
Oh my
like
god.
scary, but like amazing.
Brady
They're-
Kachuk
one.
makes me so excited for seeing a Toronto-Ottawa playoff series. Because it will be
True.
nasty.
It'll be nasty. It'll be everything you want it to be. Brady Kachuk is the type. We need more Brady Kachuks in the NHL.
Yes!
I'm glad we're all in agreement.
He is like so they said yes. They said the other day at the ceremony that Jamie Benn is the modern power forward. Brady Kachuk is the future of the power forward.
100%.
He like
100%.
that there was that little bit where it felt like power forwards were going away and they weren't doing what they used to be. Brady Kachuk is he's the future of the role.
I couldn't agree more. He does
not get talked about enough.
No,
He
he
never will
doesn't.
be.
And we're coming. It's not like we're less than 2 weeks away from this guy going up to the bench in Detroit and challenging everyone on that bench to a fight. Everyone.
And he has a scoring touch. This is a talented player, hockey wise too. He's not just mean.
Just
Punch your
think
face.
about. Just think about this. Matt Tkachuk is having an amazing season right now.
Yes, very good.
And Matt Tkachuk is probably playing the best hockey that he has played throughout his entire career.
Mhm.
Brady
Easily.
Tkachuk is supposed to be doing that as a minimum. But Brady Tkachuk is he is a better prospect than Matthew Tkachuk. What Matthew Tkachuk is doing right now, Brady Tkachuk will be doing at least better in a couple
yeah.
years. And we're not far away from that.
We're not even
Senators
close
are gonna
to
be-
Brady
But
Tkachuk.
Matthew still deserves recognition, though. because he is good for what he
Matthew
does.
100% deserves recognition.
Yes.
He should be a first team All-Star this year, 100%.
No,
We're
absolutely.
all praying for them to play in a playoff series against each other, right? Like we need to see that before they retire.
I don't think
We do.
that wouldn't happen though.
I want to see.
probably.
Is it
They're both
bad
in
that I
Atlanta.
want to see Florida get another crack at Tampa?
Oh,
Now
we all
they have
I want to
Matthew-
see
now
that.
that they
I need
have
a
Matthew Tkachuk.
Florida Battle of Florida, please.
No, a real Battle of Florida. Last year's Battle of Florida
It-
was a
yeah.
joke. I was
It's non-existent.
so upset. I thought that was going to be the best playoff
because
series
the
we've seen in
Panthers
a
suffered
while.
the President's Trophy curse. Okay,
No,
and
it
they
was
got
more than that.
swept.
The Panthers suffered the "we forgot to show up in the second round" curse. Panthers played.
They pulled the
Panthers-
Capitals. Like
No, they cosplayed as
No,
the
really.
Toronto Maple Leafs and just didn't show up for the second round.
True.
I'm right. That's why he's upset. I'm right.
no, because the Leafs don't. They're not cosplaying as the Leafs because the Leafs wouldn't know what to do when they got the second round.
You're right. You're right.
They
Actually
would-
won
they
the
would-
first round. You got me there.
Yeah,
You got me there. I'm
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I was confident in that. I'm wrong.
There's Zach. There's one trade that fell through that I feel like we need to talk about that we did not make our Google Doc.
Is it the Curtis
Van-
Lazar trade?
No, this trade did not happen, but it almost did. Okay, Vancouver almost fixed their issue, and they said no. Pittsburgh offered
Hmm.
them picks for JT Miller, and they said no.
That deal doesn't start until next year.
Yes. People are like, yeah. So people are like, oh, JT Miller's going to be a good Penguin. I'm like, what the hell are you smoking? Why would the Penguins do that? What is Ron Hextall on to offer a hefty amount of picks from what I've heard?
What are the Vancouver Canucks doing aside from trying to blow up what they have?
They're over the
No
salary
idea.
cap already for next year.
What?
If they're already over the cap for next season.
So they have to trade Quinn Hughes. They have no choice.
Yeah, he's gonna be a devil. Yeah, we've established. But like,
use
so-
the lineup.
you're over the salary cap for next year, and you have this problem contract that starts next year, and a team's like, here, take some picks. You don't have to take any money; it will take them away. And you said no because you want a center. You wouldn't have needed a center if you would have gave that money to the center instead of JT Miller.
Damn.
Like
The most confusing thing
Vancouver
about
wants him
that was-
fired on the spot for saying no.
The most confusing thing about that was why they prioritized JT Miller over Bo Horvat. That I will never
Yes.
understand.
Have you ever seen a trade that didn't go through and you look at like what almost happened and go, both GMs should be fired on the spot for this? One GM should be fired for saying no, the other one should be fired for offering it. Like, why would the Penguins want JT Miller? The team is bad. He's signed until
Because-
the end of time.
Because they're trying to make a run. They don't have Pittsburgh doesn't have the luxury of blowing it all up. They have
But here's
a
the
bunch
thing:
of Hall of
JT Miller
Famers.
isn't good. He's not
So
a good
can-
hockey player.
And Ron
And they're
Hextall's not a good
not.
hockey GM.
No, he's not. He's very.
So what are
much
you?
not.
Why are you trying to apply facts and logic to a Ron Hextall move?
And then he went out and got Nick Bonino. Congratulations! Like, I love Nick Bonino. Nick Bonino, I grew up a
Hey,
Penguins
man.
fan. Nick
I'd
Bonino
like
always has
to-
this place in my heart.
It's like that time Chicago traded Brandon Saad away, and then Jonathan Taves and Patrick
What it
came and then
feels
just
like.
said, we really want Brandon Saad back. And the GM's like, okay. And then he shipped away Artemi Panarin,
Rob-
who helped Patrick Kane win an MVP earlier that a year ago.
Ron Hextall went through the mental process of working out a 3-team deal to bring on Nick Bonino.
He wants that call to happen again. That legendary call
that's
in
what.
Punjabi.
And the thing is, Pittsburgh fans were like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever. We got Nick Bonino. We're gonna win the cup." Like, sorry to tell you, Nick Bonino is not the Nick Bonino.
Now, if they had gotten a real talent, a real American talent like Phil Kessel, maybe they'd win the cup again.
if Phil Kessel became a Pittsburgh Penguin, either him or Mike Sullivan walks out after one practice.
I love that. I love that so much.
True.
We
are
have to
run-
save. Maybe next week we'll have to save. Can we just do a bit on Pittsburgh?
Maybe.
And the shit show that team is right now.
Trevor, if you want to do that, absolutely. Next week
I'll do research, man. I'll do research.
Do it. So
Just
before we
shit show
go,
here.
though, Natasha does have to get to class, so I want to be respectful of that.
Thank you.
I do have a fun little trivia question for you guys.
Okay.
So the 1983 was a big year for drafts in sports. That was the year in football where John Elway was drafted by the Colts and demanded a trade out to eventually land in Denver. That was also the year Michael Jordan was drafted into the NBA. The NHL had a very notable... No. That was a year before Michael Jordan was drafted into the NBA. Michael Jordan was 84. I'm sorry. Excuse me. The NHL had some notable things happen during their draft that year.
Mhm.
Notably, one team did not participate in the NHL draft. They sat it out. Do you know which team this was? And bonus points for why they sat it out. They
Buffalo.
exist. No, they exist in this current NHL in the city. That
Has
they
the
play.
same name.
Same name.
Okay. This is the same team. Okay. I feel like I've heard this story, and I don't know. I thought you were gonna ask what player got picked first overall. I'm like, I know this like with my heart. Like I was so excited. That's because that's the Mario year, right? 83. Or was he 84?
I
He was
think
either.
Mario was 84.
Okay. I think it's 83. Didn't draft.
84.
Okay, so
Mario Lemieux was drafted in 84.
okay. So okay, we gotta eliminate teams that didn't exist. Then the Devils were already around, come 83, right?
Yes, but they were participants.
Yes.
I'm going to. They are currently in the Central Division.
It's not Winnipeg, is it?
No.
Okay. I was like, that'd be a really like you'd get me with that.
No, the Winnipeg Jets in this iteration did not exist.
Okay. I thought you were gonna like that was the trick.
Natasha, any guesses?
No.
St. Louis.
It was St. Louis. So the St. Louis
Oh.
Blues in 1983 elected to sit out the NHL draft after the NHL shut down their move to Saskatchewan.
I
The
knew
St.
this.
Louis Blues
Damn it.
were going to move to Saskatchewan and had a deal set up in place. There was going to be a stadium built and ready in time for the 83-84 season, but the NHL shut it down. This was after years of the team not really being properly funded by the ownership group, the Purina Pet Food Company, wanting to put more money
Oh my
into
God.
actual pet food than their NHL division, which, you know,
Makes sense.
when one owner had it, it was kind of his whole thing. But as the CEO switched, new CEO's interest did not lie in ice hockey. His sporting interests were in horse racing. So they had to arrange a deal, sell it to the original owners of the Edmonton Oilers, who were going to move to Saskatchewan. And they were going to become the Saskatchewan Blues. Or no, I'm sorry,
so
the
there's a shit
Saskatoon
show.
Blues.
The NHL was a shit show for so long.
And
Every executive
the
head
NHL
coach.
shut it down. In response, the Blues said, "We're not participating in the draft," and it is the only time in recent history where the only time in NHL history where a franchise opted to just not participate in the draft entirely.
That's amazing. That's good
So-
trivia, Zach. I like this trivia that you've been doing. It's a good one.
Thank you. That's one of my favorite.
One of these days
stories
I'm
of all
gonna get
time.
it.
That's one of my favorite stories of all time. A team was so mad that they couldn't make a terrible move that they sat out a draft
To make their own team worse.
to make their own team worse.
Yes.
To
But
hurt
that-
the NHL.
Yes. Does that finish us up then, Zach, so Natasha can leave?
I think that finishes us up, yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Wrinkles in the Crease. I hope you have a nice rest of the week, and we will see you next time.